Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. Today we have the Privacy4Cars panel. And Ted, this is becoming a very, very important topic in our industry.
Sarah, you're exactly right. Waverly Burt is a great colleague joining us today from Privacy for Cars. We've also got a few guest colleagues as well. Most of you will recognize Steve Greenfield, General Partner of Automotive Ventures, who's with us today on the panel. Steve and Waverly, thank you for coming. And from retail, very important, we've got Josh Duhon, who's with us today, Chief Compliance Officer at the Premier Automotive Group, a big and growing dealer group. So, Josh, appreciate you being here as well. Everyone, welcome to the panel. And Waverly, if it's okay, I'll start the conversation with you. For those who may not know, in about 30 seconds, let's start with the basics, Waverly. What does Privacy for Cars do?
No, great question, Ted. So, Privacy for Cars, we specialize in vehicle privacy services. Really, our solutions help dealerships unlock new revenue, boost customer loyalty, and also reduce risk by offering data deletion services as well as privacy disclosures, Ted. Our auto-cleared trademark solution efficiently, deletes personal data from vehicles with 99.9% accuracy. We provide a certificate of deletion, and this not only addresses privacy concerns, but we also use this to boost trading capture rates at our dealerships as well.
I like it a whole lot. Um, Steve, let me get your perspective on it from Automotive Ventures. Why is privacy becoming more important now for dealers?
Yeah, for first, Ted and Sarah, thanks for having us back. We're really excited to be here. We were an investor almost 4 years ago in this company, and it really clicked with me. I think that whether a dealer's playing defense, meaning they're concerned about exposure when a consumer's car continues to have PII or personally identifiable information on it, or if they're playing offense and they're trying, like Waverly said, increase conversion rate on trades, merchandise the fact that all of their vehicles have been cleared of private information. I think it's really important. So it's interesting to see a solution like this that can really resonate with conservative dealers that want to make sure that they've purged all the vehicles of PII, or if they're playing offense and they're trying to increase conversion rates, increasing sales rates. I think this solution uniquely checks both of those boxes.
And Josh, I want to come to you for your perspective from the retail side. So you just became a Privacy for Cars customer. I'd love to have you tell us a little bit more about your decision to implement vehicle privacy and security solutions at your dealerships.
Absolutely. So it was a multifold decision for us. On one hand, we wanted to ensure that we were in regulation with all government authorities and that we were making sure that each step that we took in the dealership was one that promoted a culture of compliance and that really made sure that all of our I's were dotted and our T's were crossed. But on the other hand, it was one where we wanted to ensure that our customers felt protected. Our customers felt a system of trust was around them. We really wanted to provide this culture, not just from a governmental standpoint, but from a community standpoint, that that our customers recognize that this dealership group really prioritized their safety, their security. And for us, it was one of those things where this is where the change is happening. And we like to say out here that if you don't adapt to the change, you're going to become a victim of it. And that was something that we recognized was because of the way that this is going, change had to happen, and we wanted to be one of the first ones on board.
Josh, we hear from so many of your colleagues out in the retail world that there are a lot of attacks on dealership. Okay, coming from all different directions, and I'm curious, both as chief compliance officer for the group, but you're also an attorney. We were talking in the green room a little bit earlier. The timing of this seems really important, and it's important to get this on the radar for other dealers as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can just look in the past 5, 10 years, the entire industry has changed. The FTC, OSHA, all of these governmental authorities are really monitoring the practices that each dealership has because it's for the betterment of society. It really is to ensure that your customers are protected, to ensure that the people are watched over. It really is, and it's something that we have to adapt to, just for the betterment of not only ourselves, our dealerships, but our consumers as well. Building a trust that has been gone for so many decades and making this industry have kind of more of a, you trust them.
Waverly, I'd like you to walk us through how this actually works in a dealership because you mentioned at the very beginning, this is a very quick process to implement.
It is, Sarah. It's very quick. So really using the application, the user simply scans the VIN of the vehicle. And once they do that, we'll decode that VIN in literally less than 1 second. And then we're going to provide step-by-step instructions using photographs on how to clear all the personal data from that vehicle, including the garage door code. And so when we talk about scale, we talk about efficiency, it takes on average about 90 seconds to clear any vehicle. And so what I mean by any vehicle, we cover vehicles from 2026 model year all the way back to 2002 when we say cars, quote, started getting smart, right? And so we literally take all the guesswork from the process and provide a very high level of operational efficiency to get in and out pretty quick.
Steve, Sarah and I are familiar with the work that Automotive Ventures does. And by the way, thank you for putting the focus on fixed operations. Looks like you're in the shop today.
We are getting some Porsches fixed in the background. I wish it was mine.
All right. Well, tell us a little bit, because I know you look at, and Sarah and I know that you look at a lot of companies and you look at a lot of technologies, and not everybody makes the cut. Tell us about this business model that Privacy for Cars has and why it's an attractive investment from your standpoint.
Yeah, I think what we said earlier, what Waverly very eloquently said, I mean, the dealers get a couple of benefits, right? It increases revenue while at the same time, helps them with compliance and protecting, their flanks, so to speak. But the elegance, the simplicity, and the elegance of the simplicity of the product is amazing, and it's very easy to implement. It's easy for dealers to get started, but it's very, very effective. And very rarely do you see technology solutions that are this effective, but this easy to implement. So it's not a big burden for dealers to get started with the solution and see immediate effects.
And Steve, I think we can all relate because we've all rented the car or come across the service loaner where we go to access it and we see that the data from the previous users is all still in the system and all that information is hanging out there. And you know, you know, very easy to understand business model that this is not the right thing to leave out there.
Yeah, listen, I was talking to a dealer recently. Waverly will like this. A dealer principal who got an M5 in on trade, took it home for the weekend, and while he was driving it back to his house, he realized, the former owner who just traded in, their home location is on the GPS, and their garage codes are still programmed into the vehicle. So he could have easily driven that vehicle to the former owner's home, click the garage codes, and be inside that person's house. And most people who are trading in cars don't even think of this. Now, what exposure there is for dealers, that's debatable. Josh would have a better perspective than I would. But this is a ticking time bomb. I rent cars very frequently when I travel around the world. And Ted, to your point, I'm amazed how many people have synchronized their phone, synchronized their contacts, and haven't even thought about deleting those before they turn back their rental. So I think it's an amazing dynamic. As Waverly said, the cars are getting more sophisticated. It's easier and easier to leave personally identifiable information on vehicles. And I think these are like just potential lawsuits that are lingering out there because the average consumer doesn't even think about wiping that information off their vehicle.
And Josh, actually, this is something that I had not thought about prior to Privacy for Cars, but it is really unsettling if you think about just, oh my gosh, how much information can be out there. So how do you see customers responding, when you're talking about Privacy for Cars and these privacy services and the certificate, all those pieces in this? Are customers thankful that you're taking that proactive step to ensure it?
Sure. That has been probably the most interesting part of this entire experiment for us trying to implement it. We have a few customers that come in every once in a while, they're tech savvy, and they ask us specifically, can you delete my data? Can you positively make sure that it's all out of there? And we've had that for a while, but the most interesting part is I'd say 80%, 90% of our customers, when we talk about it, because we offer it each time, they're like, what are you talking about? What do you mean all my information's on there? I thought, I disconnected my phone, it's not on there anymore. And then we'll go through the process of actually showing them exactly what we do, and their minds are blown. They're like, I had no idea this was on there. Thank you so much for letting me know. I wish I would have done it for all my other cars in the past that I sold to a dealership. And then when we hand them that certificate, you can kind of just see like this peace that comes over them, that they're like, I know that my car is protected. I know that my information is now protected. And in the digital age that we're in, that is one of the most important things you can have as a company, is to tell your consumers that your information is safe. It's not going anywhere, and anything that's left, we're deleting it. Do not worry about it. So I would say the response from our customers has been a peaceful thankfulness and kind of just a confidence in these services that we can provide for them.
Waverly, I'd like to take that a step further. How are dealers like Josh, how are they positioning this financially? What are you seeing around the country as you continue to make progress with the Privacy for Cars model?
Yeah, absolutely, Ted. So we do have dealerships that are using the platform to generate, really bottom line growth through fixed ops, through the reconditioning process, through the rental car department, things of that nature, as well as indirectly by capturing more trades. Now, ultimately, it's really dealer discretion. So, am I saying that every single dealership is using it to make money? No, some dealerships use it to enhance the customer experience, to make it a differentiator within their organization. Either way you look at it, it's really not a right or wrong way. Our biggest really piece of this is making sure that it gets done. And there's definitely opportunities at the same time to take something that, as Josh said, can check the box of compliance, reduces risk, increases customer loyalty, but also gives you an opportunity to make some revenue at the same time.
Steve, I want to get your perspective on this because you've often talked about how the consumer is getting more and more educated when it comes to online privacy and exposure points in their transaction or ownership experience. So, what is your long term outlook regarding vehicle privacy?
Well, look, I mean, the automakers themselves are focused very much on the software differentiation of the new vehicles that are getting built. You're hearing this term more and more now, the software defined vehicle. And they're realizing to compete in the future, it's going to be much more about the software on the car than the hard attributes of the car, the tires, engine, et cetera. Consumers are going to be picking their vehicles based on the software performance that's going to enable all kinds of things, including subscription services and extended range and these kinds of things. And with more software, like we're experiencing elsewhere in our life, there's more quote unquote surface area where there can be cyber attacks that we're seeing in the news more frequently, et cetera. So I think that with more of a software defined vehicle, which is the direction that the industry is going, there'll be more opportunities for the cars to be picking up personally identifiable information of the driver, of consumers who own the vehicle and are driving within the vehicle. And as a result, cybersecurity is going to become more front of mind for the automakers for sure. But I think for dealers who up until now haven't really worried, unless of course their DMS gets hacked or something, haven't really worried too much about cybersecurity. Well, we're going to be more interested in maintaining the integrity of the data on behalf of the consumer, but also dealers are going to have to be more concerned about the integrity of data overall. So I think the sophistication of the vehicles, as Ted said, is going to drive all of us to be more obsessed with making sure that we're protecting ourselves, protecting our customers, and protecting our businesses.
Steve, as a consumer, I know I'm like you. I rent vehicles frequently, and when I go to return it, I'm in a hurry. I've got to catch a flight. I've got an itinerary, and probably the furthest thing from my mind is to delete all that data. Steve, to have a professional service ensuring this is done, that's got to be an advantage for dealerships and groups like Premier Automotive to have that as part of their story.
Well, as Josh has very clearly articulated here, imagine, Ted, you hand in your rental car when you're at Los Angeles or Atlanta, and imagine that you had a certificate emailed to you almost real time. You get your invoice from Hertz and you get your certificate emailed from Hertz. Wouldn't that be a wonderful world? And as Josh said, then you would have peace of mind when you're going through security and getting on your plane that your PII has been wiped off that vehicle. We aren't there yet. Waverly can underscore that. We have a long way to go still. But I think for the consumer's peace of mind, for the rental car companies peace of mind and for the automaker, they should all be very interested in making sure that we get adoption of this technology sooner rather than later.
So, Josh, if I can come back to you, if you had to convince another dealer or another dealer group, one of your peers, to get involved with Privacy for Cars and to get involved with this, what would you say to them?
It's funny you asked that. I actually have already convinced some of my other peers in the industry and in the compliance sector to look into it. And the two questions I asked them were one, how well do you want to sleep at night? And the second was, what kind of image do you want to have in your community? When it comes to, how well do you sleep at night? I can't tell you how I can't tell you how great it is to get my report every single week from Waverly, and I see every single vehicle that has either left my property or has come in, and every single one shows when they were cleared of their data, every single one. That kind of peace of mind just lets me know, like right there, right on the screen, lets me know that I can now move into whatever else I need to move because on a privacy standpoint, I'm protected and I'm covered and I have all my ducks in a line for that. When it comes to the image in your community, for the past, I don't know, since dealerships have been around, they haven't had the best image in their community. There's not a lot of trust between the consumer and the automotive industry, and that's something that for the past 5-10 years, that's the change that's happening. So I would say, do you want to jump on that change, and do you want to be part of a group of dealers whose image is one that says trustworthy, one that says I've got you, one that is about protection, one that says your interest first as a consumer, and that trust builds long-term customers, long-term relationships, and it overall it will increase your dealership's profitability and safety long-term. So that would be the two questions I would ask somebody if they wanted to look into privacy for cars.
Well, Waverly, a lot of dealers are listening to this today and probably wondering what's the first step? How do I get started? So share with us, what is the best recommendation to reach out to y'all?
Great question, Sarah. The first step is just simply go to www.privacy4cars.com/dealers. They can simply schedule a demo right there from our website. Either myself or someone from my team will reach out immediately. We'll get them on the calendar and we'll take it from there. One thing that's unique about Privacy for Cars is, unlike most vendors that usually see that 30-day, onboarding process, that 45-day onboarding process, our system is really turnkey. We can have stores regardless of the size, functional and ready to clear cars in 24 to 48 hours, regardless of the size of the group, which is very strong and a testament to technology and how fast things are moving, and we're moving fast with it. So it's a very simple process to get on board.
Waverly, every time we have you on the show, this gets better and better, and the message is really strong. So, Waverly, I appreciate you coming on and spending some time with us and bringing this to our dealers' attention and the spotlight that you've put on it.
Yeah, thanks, Ted. We're happy to be here. We're happy to continue supporting that. The support you have for us it's been great, and we look forward to the relationship.
Everybody, the company is called Privacy4Cars. You see it scrolling in the bottom. Privacy, the number 4cars.com/dealers. Waverly Burt has been a big part of getting the message out. Now Steve Greenfield is on board with Automotive Ventures. Steve, that's a very strong seal of approval. So appreciate all you do for the industry and putting the focus on this. And Steve, this is very much a part of fixed operations too, because it's all become part of, it's all one, the recon process, the trade. And Steve, appreciate the spotlight from you. And Josh Duhon from Premier Automotive Group, thank you so much for your insights and very well received. Sarah, it gets better and better.
It does, Ted, and this is such an important topic in our industry, and I'm excited to see how we'll continue to highlight it.
Everybody, Privacy for Cars here with us today on the panel at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.